Hi, I'm Suzanne, a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Canada. Welcome to another Monday Makes video on my blog and YouTube channel. For today's card, I'm using the brand new Hanging Garden stamp set. I still have a cold, so bear with me here. I'm inking up these stamps with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I am stamping down. Now this is a piece of watercolor paper, and it is sized 8 1/4 by 3 1/4, or I actually cut it down to those sizings. And basically I'm going to do some watercolor pencil coloring today. I will show you a little bit of it. I've sped a lot of it up, but this is a card I think that would go nicely for Mother's Day, and I think that's what I'm actually going to do with this card. Anyway, I've stamped all of the images plus 2 extra and then some butterflies, and I did end up drying this piece with my heat tool on setting 1. Because I am going to use my blender and I'm going to rub along those black lines, and I don't want any smudging. So I ended up initially putting down a base color, basically, and then when the blender pen was dry, I went in and did a little bit more shading, and I didn't show you that here. I mean, we all know how to color, but this is just sort of me giving you a quick example of how to use your watercolor pencils with your blender pen. It's not as wet as an aqua painter or a paintbrush would be. So, and the reason why I chose the blender is because it has a really sharp pointy nose, and my pencils are sharpened very, very sharp. And I felt that because I wanted to get really accurate coloring. So like you would be doing with pencil crayons or whatever. So I can blend the 2 colors together here for the butterflies. I'm using yellow and pumpkin pie, Daffodil Delight and pumpkin pie. And then I go in with my blender pen and just smooth out the coloring. You could use Gamsol if you wanted. And I do have a little piece of scrap paper off to the side, so if it's too much color on the images, I can just sort of scribble it off and, you know, only blend what I need to blend, or quick change from one color to another. So I'm only going to color the one plant because, again, we all know how to color. And I'm just sort of wanting to give you an example of how to use the watercolor pencils. And you probably noticed that I do have a watercolor pencil sort of artist pack. And that's how I store all my watercolor pencils, easy for travel and that sort of thing. You'll find that in a Fabricate Friday video. And maybe if I remember, I'll put it in the description bar below. But I'm just basically blending a couple of colors and to make some of these succulents look like real succulents. I'm looking for a realistic approach here. Some do have a little bit of shading and some don't. Okay, so I did cut that piece down. I said to 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'm using an extra piece of gray cardstock, basic gray, and I'm using Versamark ink with the sentiment "Sending Lots of Love," and I'll be heat embossing that with white. And of course, I always heat emboss from behind, just so I can see what I'm doing and so you can see what I'm doing, and I've just done it that way all the time. So I have no explanation for the reason why I do the things that I do half the time. Here's a little tip. You know how that one edge is sort of free? If you put a little bit of washi tape, there you go. You can actually cut that and it doesn't get all wobbly. Do you know what I mean? Have you done that? That's, you know, learning from experience, right? Okay, so I'm cutting that little strip down, and then basically I'm using the fast fuse to adhere my card front to my card base. The card base is 7 by 8 1/2 and scored in the middle, and I'm going to use my bone folder to crease that in half, and then I think I had a little rough edge on the watercolor paper. And then I just adhered the sentiment piece to the front of the card. And then I'm going to add the glitter and clear epoxy shapes. These are super cool and they're in the new catalog. You may miss them. They're in with the bubble and bottles suite, but there's a glitter one and a clear one. Anyway, that's my card for today. See you again soon. Bye. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf to visit my website, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.